Our first show. You and I were in
The Lover.
our first show, The Lover.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pinter.
The Lover by
The Lover.
Pinter
The
in
Lover.
a basement.
In a basement.
In Highland Park.
dark
Said
little-
88 people. We were 20?
Yeah.
And so you penciled in.
I think I penciled in some sort of sideburns and a mustache that I'm sure threatened to come off, numerous times. The main thing we tried to do was, let's get everybody busy. Let's get everybody working.
We didn't do anything else except rehearse and then smoke pot.
And say their lines, but all they're thinking about is fucking ping pong, man.
This amazing play that was a huge, huge gift.
I keep thinking about getting a tattoo, and if I do, it's going to say, in the time of your life, live.
What we did was, for an hour or a little more every night before we went on, while the other play was playing, we would go out in the neighborhood and we would be these kids, and we would sort of mildly vandalize and throw rocks at a car coming by and run.
You were at the theater all the time, and if you weren't in a show, you were parking cars or selling tickets or being an usher. So I saw almost everything, almost every night.
You hold on, the love that's gone, run a mile, to see 'em smile.
Malkovich said it was written in the 60s. It was sort of a minor thing for Lanford Wilson. We're going to bring it up to the 70s so we can use Bruce Springsteen, Ricky Lee Jones, Tom Waits music that seems to be written for the play. And we do this thing, and it's, it just blows people away.
It was close to our company ethos. It said all the things that we were formed by. We were a peripheral group. We were a peripheral bunch of people that peripheral to the theater, peripheral to the community. We were our own community.
Everybody from the ensemble was gone. And Randy and Rondi and me did Fool for Love with Terry. I chipped a bone in my elbow. I got this scar here. I broke a chair over my head in the play, and a screw got caught in my throat. Jesus. And so I'm bleeding to death. I'm bleeding out of my neck. And Rondi, it's just me and Rondi on stage. And Rondi's sitting there, and she sees the blood start coming out of my neck, and she's like, and I realized I'm bleeding. Oh, Jesus. And then it's kept coming. And I took my shirt off and tied it around my neck.
In the midst of all the giddiness, Gary Sinise said, man, come on up to my office. I want to talk to you. I went up to his office, and he said, we'd like you to become a member of the ensemble. And without missing a beat, Gary said, and you should think of something that you want to do. I said to him right away, what about the Grapes of Wrath?
What'd you figure? I figured about the Holy Spirit and Jesus Road. I figured, why do we got to hang it all on God or Jesus? I figured maybe it's all men and all women we love.
I loved every part. I loved being at the theater. I could watch that scene with Gary and Terry.
Yeah.
Unlimited, infinite.
Yeah, me too.
Times.
The Geography of Luck. It was a funky, funkadelic, funky show.
It was my first equity show, so I was like, whoa.
The scene opens where I'm in a bikini on a lawn chair reading a magazine, and Al Wilder has to walk up to me, and the sand was slightly uphill. And there's Al in cowboy boots attempting to go up this hill.
The sand going
backwards. And it took way too long.
Most notoriously, for me, when Martha and I were doing Aunt Dan and Lemon, we were doing Aunt Dan and Lemon.
I have to say it's one of my all-time favorite productions.
Some woman got very annoyed one night at the end.
She was appalled. She said, "Are you going to stay here for this?" to somebody else in the theater.
barrels out.
She had to actually cross the stage, and she walked right behind Martha.
And yeah, other people left too.
And Martha is like a laser beam, unflappable. She goes right on.
But she left her review right there in the performance.
Funny story from Love Song. There was a sandwich in a scene, and Austin was directing. And we finally get to the scene where there's the sandwich. And Austin says, "Oh, okay, let's stop, just stop." The whole theater's quiet. We're just watching Austin, and he sits down and he just starts eating the sandwich.
You could write a book called Austin Pendleton and Food, and just fill it with stories of Austin and food. Horror stories for the most part. Absolute horror stories. There's a story about either Amy was giving Rondi some pesto, or Rondi was giving Amy some pesto, homemade pesto in a Tupperware container. We were all at the Black Duck after a show, and this big Tupperware container of pesto is sitting there, and somebody comes back to the table and the pesto container is empty. What happened to the pesto? Austin says, "I ate it." With what? With a fork.
I have a story I want to tell about Molly. In rehearsal, I remember going up to Austin and said, "Austin, Molly is like, she's like always touching me, and she's, I don't know what to do." She goes, "Well, what do you want to do?" I say, "I just feel like I would get her away from you." He goes, "Well, see what happens." So it was during a performance, and I remember I pushed you away from me a little harder than I should have. You fell on your ass and slid across the stage. I was horrified. I felt horrible. But it was a great lesson, because it's like, I can't do that.
What happens to me in Chicago still, even unto this day, I'll go get off the train and people will be like, "You're Terrell McCraney. I saw the Brother Sister plays 3 times. White people, black people, Polish people. I mean, I have never, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's very strange.
So that's when we were doing like that really long run upstairs. And that was the one time that when it was ending, we all felt like, man, it feels like we just got in a groove. And that was really, really fun to be able to do 3 different shows as opposed to doing the one show over and over and over again. So we all felt like I could do this for another couple of months.
Seafarer.
Yeah,
cross-reference
that's the
on
one.
that.
That's probably like
Ireland.
my favorite, like probably one of the top 2 or 3 shows I've seen. I loved that, man. I loved y'all, and that's the one that made me think of like, when I think of like Steppenwolf, when I think of like kind of the ensemble aspect of it and how everyone's got a piece, but everyone does so well and trusts each other and moment to moment and nothing too far ahead. Like I didn't know the story, so that was probably like one of my top like 2 or 3 that I've ever like been a part of here.
We knew we had something good. We knew we were on to something good. The first time we ever did it, the first preview we did, Anna, I remember Anna and I standing at the back and looking at each other with a sense of, oh my God, what have we tapped into? Because the waves of not just laughter, but recognition were beyond anything I've ever experienced in the theater.
You know, John Malkovich brought his family, I think 3 times to see it, and spoke about how he wanted his children to see that play because in his mind it exemplified what Steppenwolf is.
As an actor, that's the dream, to be in a massively hit show, brand new show that you're originating the role in, that people palpably, loudly go nuts for while you're doing it. It doesn't get any better than that. And I've always said that's the top of my career. It's downhill from there, but that's fine, because that's quite a top.
Detroit was a hot mess. That's what Detroit was. I got to the second scene, she pukes all over in the front yard. I said, I'm in.
I was just chicken shit showing up. I was so scared. I was And you were like, she can be tough.
She's also just incredibly, she appreciates other actors so much.
Oh my, yeah. Like, I must sit downstage of her because I can't be trusted. And as soon as I said that, it was like an open wound, which Lori enjoys that.
She calls it pecking where there's blood.
Every place she's ever been in, we used to call that peck where there's blood.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
so
how
unprofessional.
you know. That's the only real way you know you've survived a Steppenwolf show is if you can get through her.
If you can get through Lori.
You hold on, the love that's gone, run a mile, to see 'em smile.
If anybody who like really knows me that I can be a girly girl. So I was like, wigs? A girl who like to spend that money? I want to play.
Costumes?
Okay.
Yes.
I had a great time, and specifically because I knew that probably nobody else would give me the opportunity to do that. When you sit down and you watch anything that is outside of your culture, you get an education. You get reminded that we are more alike than we are different. Let's just continue to learn about the people we share time and space with. So that's what I would like to see happen.
The real truth of Steppenwolf is that our mom and pop roots never ever left the building.
I love these new beginnings. I love this. It's really exciting. The passing of the baton from Martha to Anna.
I think that when we started out in the church basement 40 years ago, I don't think anybody would have thought that Steppenwolf Theater would have become as synonymous with Chicago in a really positive way as it has.
I'm fortunate that I can do my plays wherever I want to and with a lot of different people. I want to do them here, and I want to do them with people like Jan Barford.
We want the next Terry Kinney in the building now. Not when he's 40, not when he, not 40 years past. We want him in the building when he's most innovative and most eager.
I'm always interested in seeing who will become Steppenwolf. You can leave a building, you can leave a whole slew of plays that you did and photos and all of that. Can you leave all the actors and the writers growing in that place?
I don't really know what I would do without these people, that are my family. They just are.